Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of UnMuted. I am Felicia Franklin, your moderator or your host, whatever works for you. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 11 of UnMuted. So here we are, ready to pull others through. I believe that everything that you go through is for a reason. Nothing is by chance or by happenstance. So if there's something that you've gone through, traumatic things, and everybody's it is different. It's not meant for us to go through things and not help someone else, because the very things that we go through, that we grow through, we can take that lesson and help someone else get through the same thing. That's why we're here. It's not meant for us to stay silent in a situation. And when we get out, it's not meant for us to go through it and keep it to ourselves. So with saying that, without further ado, I present to you tonight, UnMuted, episode number 11. Now, each week we have a different topic. Sometimes I have a guest on and we talk about different things depending on what the topic is that particular night. Tonight, we're going to be talking about resources. I think this is something that's very prevalent tonight, that is really needed right now. So the topic is resources. There is a need to know. I was asked a question about a week and a half ago regarding situation. I don't want to get too deep into the conversation, but regarding the situation, and it really stuck with me. So I started doing a little research because I had an answer, but I didn't have a full answer for the individual. So I don't like to tell people I don't know and just leave it at that. I started doing a little research to find out what I could find out. So tonight we're talking about resources. In this time of the pandemic, people are really going through. People are going through mentally. People are going through physically. People are going through financially. People are having a hard time educationally. This pandemic is affecting every aspect of our lives. So we have the everyday person that's working a 9-to-5 job where they would normally probably be okay day to day, or week to week, month to month, paying their bills. And even those people are having a hard time. Some people that were, I guess, considering themselves middle-class citizens right now, they may find themselves in a bit of a different class range, I guess you would say, or in a different status right now, because the pandemic is really affecting what people are going through and how they are going through it. So if that's happening to people that are in a middle class or upper class or whatnot, just imagine what's going on with people that are considered lower class or lower income or fixed income and whatnot. So I want to talk about a few of the resources that are out there, a few of the things and the policies that's changed that will be beneficial to everyone. So the first thing that I want to actually talk about is the CARES Act. So one thing with the CARES Act, student loans. Student loans is a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people have a lot of student loan debt or whatnot. I personally wish they could just wipe the whole system clean, let it just get a glitch in it, and then boom, we all got a zero balance. I would love that myself personally, but that's neither here nor there. That's just me. But if you know somebody that can make that happen, please, put my name in the hat also. Hey Ashley, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to all of the new followers or whatnot that's actually catching it on tonight. I appreciate it. So again, talking about the CARES Act. First, we're talking about the CARES Act and the student loans. So I was reading, doing my research. This was actually the CARES Act the student loan portion of the CARES Act was actually, they were suspending it. So what it was, they were eliminating payments from March 13th to September 30th. Now you're gonna see me looking around a little bit because I'm working on a couple of different screens and I have notes because I wanted to make sure that I got everyone the proper information. I will be dropping some links and calling out some links and some phone numbers throughout the segment as well. So make sure you share it with someone, have a pen and piece of paper or something you want to write with so you can get the information. So again, they were stopping or they were eliminating the student loan payment. So you might have gotten a couple of phone calls. You may have thought they were telemarketers or whatnot calling about student loans. I did. I don't usually answer them. So the minute, if it's a crazy looking phone number, I don't answer. If they get me and they look like, a Montgomery number and I do answer, I'll hang up. However, doing the research on this, I did notice that some of those calls were legit. Now, there are some scams out there, so you want to be mindful of the scams. But the CARES Act was suspending the student loan payments from March 13, 2020 to September 30th, 2020. Now, right now, this is still going on. So what this means is they cannot charge you payments right now. They cannot stop. They had to do stop payments, wage garnishment. So if they were actually taking your wages because of default on a student loan, right now you should be up under a grace period. So if you're paying student loans right now, you should not be paying them. Government-wise, you should not be paying them because they actually stopped this. People that were paying through social security and earned income payments or whatnot, those have all been suspended. They can't charge you interest right now. They can't charge you late fees or penalties or this or that right now up under this CARES Act. Now, Congress is actually talking about how they're going after September 30th, how they're going to go about this. Republicans want to start it back. Well, no, they don't. They want to start back repayment. Democrats actually want to put something else in place because there's going to be a flood or influx of people having to make student loan payments, and the unemployment rate is still high, so it's a lot going on. This is detrimental. So it may not seem like something that you really want to talk about right now, but to some people this really matters. So just hang tight because I'm coming down your road. Student loans is just the first one that I got to. According to the University of Oregon, their translation and neuroscience department, there are some different things that they're putting in place as well. I'll talk about that. But one of the main things is people are having a problem with student loans and this grace period. So the reason I mentioned this first, because I know that some people are really having a hard time with student loans. One thing that I was reading about that was there are two different kinds of people. So you have the person that is considered a low income and then maybe they're making only $10,000. They took out a $10,000 student loan to go to cosmetology school or something like that. And now they've gotten that started and they're really not making any income right now. Then you have the person that is maybe an attorney or government attorney or lawyer or whatnot, and they started, they took a $200,000 loan out to go to law school. One took out a $10,000 student loan. One took out a $200,000 student loan. And going through this pandemic, where are they sitting? Well, they have the income-driven student loan process. So with this particular, with the CARES Act and the suspending of the federal loans, it kind of puts both people into a bad place, but how it can help them. So you have and I want to make sure I get this exactly right. The person that is actually making $10,000 annually a year, however, that person took out a $10,000 loan, they're considered, they take out an income-driven, they're under the income-driven repayment plan for their student loans. In that, they don't have anything to pay. And then after 20 years, their student loan is forgiven. Well, who really wants to wait 20 years for their student loan to be forgiven? Nobody, really. But there is a way around that. You can actually, or there is a way to do that. I learned a lot of that doing this research. Then you have the person that took out a $200,000 student loan to attend law school. This particular person goes into an $80,000 a year job just going in. Well, that person is paying $500 a month back for their student loans. After 10, up under this program, after 10 years, their student loans are forgiven. Now, the thing is, nobody really wants to pay student loans that long. But if you want to get it off your credit, if you want to get the debt taken care of, you got to do what you got to do. Nobody really wants to do it. However, those are two of the things. You can either wait it out 20 years, you can wait it out 10 years, make your payments, and it's going to be forgiven. So be mindful of the different programs through federal loans and student loans. I would highly encourage you to look into those right now, because there may be something really beneficial to you. Now, if you are a person that works in law enforcement, I would really highly recommend that you contact Fed Loan, Freddie Mac, Sallie Mae, whoever your student loans are with, to see what particular programs they have right now to help you out. It may be beneficial, especially being in law enforcement, because there is a portion that if you're in law enforcement, they will pay for you, or it will be forgiven after a certain amount of payments. I think you make 15 months of payments, and then it's forgiven or something like that. Now, don't quote me on that part because I'm not exactly sure, but it is a program for that, and there is an incentive for law enforcement. So I just want to put that out there. Hey, Cassandra. Hey, cousin. Oh, thank you. Thank you again for everyone tuning in to another episode of Unmuted. My name is Felicia Franklin. We do this every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So we have different topics. Tonight we're talking about resources. There is a need to know. So my next topic will be talking about parents with young children that have disabilities. Now, before I talk about that, I do want to make sure, please share this segment tonight. Please tune in, because I will be talking about rental assistance and mortgage assistance during the pandemic and some of the programs and incentives that's out there. So please don't leave. And if you know someone is having an issue or having a problem or whatnot, they may need to hear this information, share it, please, by all means share it. Because if it's not for you, then it could be for somebody. So I will be talking about that a little bit more, the rent and mortgage assistance as well. So parents with children, young children that have disabilities, studies have shown right now that they are more depressed during the COVID-19 crisis than they have ever been before. So these are some of the numbers, and I want to make sure that I quote them right. 2017, 388,694 children ages 2 and younger received services through Part C of the Individual Disability Act. Is called, the acronym is IDEA, Individual Disability Act. 773,595 children ages 3 to 5 receive Part B. More than 40% receive services for speech or language impairment. Now, 30% of these children with disabilities they had developmental delays, and 11% of those had autism. So now the reason I'm talking about this is a lot of these children that have these disabilities and whatnot, their parents are essential workers. So during this crisis, you have parents that have young children with disabilities, and they are essential workers. There's no child care, and they've started cutting funding. No, they have not started cutting funding. They've cut funding. So where people would normally take their children in to get speech therapy, language therapy, autism, the development, the ones that deal with developmental delays and the different things, where they would normally have services to help those individuals, due to COVID-19, a lot of that has been cut. Now, the study that I actually I'm quoting you from is according to also according to the University of Alabama Central Translation Neuroscience Department. So just imagine if you are the parent of a 3 to 5 year old or 2 or under, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a younger child, it can be a teenage child. They depend on you totally, and you are an essential worker. Now, there are a lot of workers there are a lot of parents that are essential workers, but a lot of people work in healthcare, and not necessarily at major hospitals, but nursing homes and rehabilitation places and different things like that. They're considered essential workers. So now you have these people that are essential workers, and they have to take care of their children that are underage. There are a lot of them are babies, and they're elementary age children, toddlers, and now there's no funding, there are no services for them. So that's where the numbers and the statistics actually came, showing that these parents are actually going through depression, borderline depression, and they're more depressed during this COVID-19 because they really don't know what they're going to do. So on top of the stress of COVID-19 and making sure their family's not getting sick, on top of everything else that's going on, they don't have the services now to take care of their children like they used to. That also includes childcare. So to some of us that our children are now able enough to stay at home alone, we're not affected by that anymore. However, just imagine how it was when our children were younger and we had to really and solely rely on childcare. When you don't have that anymore, but you still have to go to work every day because you need your job to pay bills. This is a problem. So I feel that this is worthy enough to talk about and actually do some research on to get the information out there. It says that some states are actually launching different initiatives to fund daycares and possibly school-based emergency child care centers. Now, you would have to go and look up the different organizations or whatnot, or just pretty much Google some of it to see what is in your particular area, what is in your particular state. Now, I'm going to give you the resources that I actually have, but each state is going to be different. Mind you, some states are lower on the totem pole than other states, so they may not have all of the resources. But each state has each state does have resources. Now, these initiatives that I spoke about that some of the states are launching, they will include services for loss of employment, food insufficiency, worries about upcoming rent, and worries about upcoming mortgage. That's how I kind of tie into the mortgage and the rent assistance. Some of these programs are expanding into other areas. Now, that leads me to talk about, now, I can't really speak on too many other states that I'm not familiar with, but because we're in Alabama, I will talk about Alabama. Now, you can look into the tri-state areas. Some of them are starting to mimic each other, like Mississippi. If you happen to know someone that works at a Department of Human Resources in your state, please, by all means. Thank you, Uncle. Mississippi is offering free child care for all essential workers. See, make sure you talk to people that are in your circle about what's going on in your area. Some people work for the state and they work for the city and whatnot, because there are programs and there are services out there, but people aren't getting this information. Sometimes you have to do a little reading, and if it doesn't come across your Facebook news feed or Instagram or social media or something, some people are missing these things. It's not a shot. It's sad to say, but that really is the case. So people are stressing and people are struggling right now, but there are some programs out there to help. With the Department of Corrections, with the Department of Human Resources, not just in the state of Alabama, but in other states, they are expanding the use of SNAP benefits. That is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, the EBT and the Food Assistance Program. What they're doing right now, they are expanding that to online SNAP benefits. So here are the numbers. 14% are 65 and older that receive these SNAP benefits. 42% are people of color. Now, people of color does not just mean Black. It does mean Black and brown. So that's Hispanics and Dominicans and what minorities. 37 states adopted this pilot program. There are still 13 states that lack this, that are not doing it right now. So of the states, there are 37 states that have this, and they're piloting actually this online SNAP benefit. Only retailers, no, there are only 5 retailers right now that are accepting online SNAP benefits. So you may want to check with your Department of Human Resources. You can just look them up online, whatever your state is, and DHR, maybe .gov, and you can find that. It was fairly easy for me to pull it up for Alabama. So you want to look into that. Now, there is also a disaster response network. And I want to go ahead and give this phone number out for that. The number is 877-542-9723. That is the Disaster Response Network, 877-542-9723. And of course, I will link all of these, the links, and I will pin in all the numbers and everything after the segment is over. So you can always come back if you need something. But the disaster financial assistance with food, housing, and bill. And they are doing mortgage relief through the CARES Act. So check that contact out, because this is food, housing, and bill assistance. Now, I don't know the criteria because I did not call myself, but I did look it up, check into it, and I read what they were actually doing. I just did not call to get the specifics of it. But I feel that if I give you the information, you can do your due diligence and check it out. Food, housing, and bills. Why not check it out if you know you need that help? Again, if you are watching right now, please share this post, because you never know who's going to need what. And again, I thank you for tuning in. Food aid. So one of the things right now going on is we know during the summer they were doing food assistance to make sure that children still ate in the summer. The food aid, USDA National Hunger Hotline. That number, and it's still going on, that number is 866-348-6479. Again, that is Food Aid USDA National Hunger Hotline, 866-348-6479. Now, you may not need any of this information that I'm talking about tonight, but someone needs this information. Someone has children to feed. Someone has people to take care of. Someone doesn't know how their bills are going to get paid. They may be okay this month, but they don't know what they're going to do next month. Right now, we are in hurricane season. I think it's hurricane season, or we're close to hurricane season, and you just never know what's going to go on. Thank God the hurricane didn't do what they thought it was going to do. That just recently landed. People are going to need resources. There is FEMA, but there are other resources out there to help, even the ones that are not going through the natural disaster crisis, but they're going through the pandemic, and they just need some kind of help. If there are resources, why not share and let people know that it's something out there? The Alabama Elderly Simplified app program, it is the AESAP. There is for 60 or older that have no earned income. That is the Alabama Elderly Simplified app program. This is to help elderly that have no income or no earned income that actually need food assistance or other assistance. There are a lot of people that are older that are living alone and they don't have family to help them. So if you know someone, there is a program out there to help. yes, people can also call 211. Thank you, Felicia, for referrals and assistance. 211 is your friend for wherever you are in the state. Now, I want to talk about the Department of Human Resources and some of the things that they're doing and some of the initiatives that they're putting out. I was reading up on a temporary cash assistance program. So what this does, it provides cash assistance for basic needs for low-income families with children under 18 or 19 if they're a full-time student in a secondary school or an equivalent vocal or technical training. So some of your children have just graduated from high school and they are receiving some kind of vocational training. They may be in college or they're doing a technical training, maybe cosmetology or tech school or, generators or, welding or something. They will still be covered. So again, that is a temporary cash assistance, and it applies for providing cash assistance for basic needs for low-income families with children. I'm not saying that it doesn't cover those families without children. Check on the requirements. But with children, 8 up to 18 or 19, if they are in a secondary school or receiving some kind of voc training or tech training. Now, I have a number for that, also a local number for Alabama in our area, 334-242-1773. Again, that is 334-242-1773. Now, also the website for the Department of Human Resources is dhr.alabama.gov. Now, if you go on DHR's website, dhr.alabama spelled out .gov, you just go through their menu, and I actually did. So I went through their menu to see what services that they were offering and what were they doing to combat the COVID-19 crisis, the pandemic crisis, and that's where I got a lot of this information. They also have what is called the JOBS program. Thank you for putting that up for me, Felicia. Hey, Watanya, thank you for tuning in. The JOBS, JOBS program. Now, the JOBS program, it has cash assistance also to help find and retain employment. So now I don't really know how this works. They're doing cash assistance, so it may come out of your paycheck or it may just get you by until you get a paycheck, but it's the cash assistance to help find employment and to help you retain employment. There are a lot of employers that have not allowed their employees to go back to work yet. Small businesses, some of them can afford to go back. There is the PPP program. If you go on the Small Business Association website, they have different things that they're helping. A lot of people didn't qualify for that, or they didn't get it in time and the funds ran out so quick. So just giving out whatever I possibly can to help those that are in need. Now, I wanted to talk to you mainly about the temporary rent release and mortgage. Okay, so let me get my other information, because people are having a hard time paying bills. People are defaulting on their mortgage, getting behind on their rent. Now, I was doing some research, and there was it's the temp rental relief. It was an eviction moratorium on federally backed rental housing. Now, it ended on July 24th, 2020. And why am I talking about this when it's something that's already ended? Just bear with me. I got you. For those, you still owe the money, but you cannot be charged late fees or penalties for rent owed between March 27, 2020 and July 24th, 2020. Again, I know that particular date says it has expired. However, I did pull up the executive order on fighting the spread of COVID-19 by providing assistance to renters and homeowners. This was an executive order that was actually signed by the president, and it was issued on August the 8th, 2020. I got you. I just needed to give you all of the information so I can get you up to speed. Now, the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they are currently allowing services to extend forbearance agreements and up to 3 months total to 6 months on mortgages. So for the homeowners that were possibly getting behind on foreclosures and getting behind on their payments and possibly facing foreclosures, Bijou, we don't know anyone's housing situation. You know your funds, your finances better than anyone else. I'm not trying to calculate anybody's pockets. I don't know what your situation is. I just want to give you the information and get it out there to help whoever we can. Now, this particular one does not just help the homeowners. This particular program is actually helping the homeowners that are renting their houses out as well. So this helps the renters as well. While the property is in forbearance because of this particular program. So let me stop right there. Some homeowners or some renters that are actually renting from a one owner, and you may be behind on your rent, your landlord or the homeowner may not know about this program. I would recommend you sit down and have a conversation, send an email. It would be better to have a conversation with the homeowner to see if they know about these programs or what's out there to help them, because they may not know about it, and this could help you and them as well. It'll be twofold. But while the property is in forbearance, the landlord must suspend all evictions for renters unable to pay. And they are available for qualified properties. Any one of the houses that are enterprise-backed multi-family mortgages. So most of the homeowners that still have mortgages on those homes, but they have bought other homes and they're renting out that home. If it's an enterprise-backed multi-family mortgage, it does qualify. Please, please, please talk to your landlords. If you are living in a one-owner home, you're renting a one-owner home, and you are behind on your bills, please talk to your landlords, to your renters, whatever, to the real estate companies that are actually doing it, and see if they know about these programs that are in place. There are resources out there. There is some help out there. Don't stress yourself out. If there is help out there, I'm giving you the resources. Just do a little leg work to help yourself out, to help your family out. The homeowner may be going under, they may be stressing out as well. They may be getting behind on the mortgage and you're behind on the rent, because some people actually rent out their homes and they use that money to actually pay the mortgage on the home, and then they're still paying another home. So you want to make sure that we want to make sure we're handling business. Okay, Felicia said on Wednesday, the Department of Housing and Urban Development will extend its ban on foreclosures and evictions for homes backed by the Federal Housing Administration until the end of the year. Great. So she said on Wednesday, department. Okay, so I'm thinking that's going to be next Wednesday, or was that yesterday? I just recently did some of this research. So either way, it's going to be extended until the end of the year. If you are facing an eviction, if you are possibly going to face an eviction, please talk to your landlords. Please call 211 call the housing association and see what assistance is out there. See what's going on that you can actually get help with. There are services, there are things in place to help in this time. Do not go through this crisis and there's help out there and don't get it. That is crazy. This pandemic is causing a lot of stress. Okay, she says it was extended on yesterday. Department of Housing extended this day in the front. They extended it on yesterday. So it was extended. So from the time I actually did this research, they have gone and they've extended it to the end of the year. Thank you for putting that information. See, it's lovely when the plan comes together. People working together. We are not information hoarders. That's my girl. Okay, so even though this pandemic, there's a lot going on in this pandemic, and it's stressing people out, now is the time that you can actually get caught up on some things. Utilize the services and the funding that is out there to help yourself out. Because when it is gone, if they don't extend it, it is going to be gone. Even with the unemployment. So they were giving the $600 extra funding, the federal funding for the unemployment, and they cut it off. Now they're talking about doing the $400. I'm not sure if that started yet, but they're cutting funding here or there where they can. So whatever is out there that you can get, please just look into it. If you know that you can use the assistance, you can use the help, whether it's on your food, whether it's on your bills, whether it's on your rent and mortgage, if the programs are in place, utilize the programs. Nobody's here to judge. Utilize the programs. Let's see. Now it says one thing that they did talk about, if extended, once the conclude. So now Felicia just dropped a comment in saying that they extended it to the end of the year, which is great. And that was as of yesterday, August the 26th. This was extended to yesterday. So they can't charge you penalties and whatnot for any of that. Now, I'm going to tell you what was written to help you out after. Once this is excluded, thank you, Chandel. At the conclusion of this particular program, once this is done, the borrower may, that means the homeowner, may qualify for up to 24 months repayment, missed repayment, and modified or a new arrangement schedule. So there is still going to be a modicum of help that's going to come after that. They can actually give the tenant or the renter 30 days notice. They have to give you 30 days notice before you can vacate the premises. They cannot charge you late fees. They cannot charge you penalties for non-payment. They cannot charge you late fees. They cannot charge you penalties, and they cannot charge you any of this for non-payment. So please talk to your landlords, talk to your homeowners if you're renting from homes to see if they qualify so you all both can benefit from the program. They're going to benefit, you're going to benefit. This is for renters and homeowners. It also states that they must allow the tenant flexibility to pay back rent over time and not in a lump sum. Now, let me say that one more time. They must allow the tenant the flexibility to repay back the rent over time and not in a lump sum. Not in a lump sum. Now, okay, I'm done. You got the gist right there. Okay. Now, as of August the 21st, when I was doing some of this research, the National Low Income Housing Coalition was working on extending their programs, implementing some different initiatives. Some of these actually go along with Felicia actually posted. If you want to look into the comments, people can contact Alabama Rural Coalition for the Homeless, ARCH, www.archconnection.org. If you are renting, leasing, not mortgage, and you are in arrears for assistance, call 334-273-0668. Visit their website or Facebook page for a list of 42 counties they cover. She is so awesome, because I was definitely going to call these links out to you all. Matter of fact, let me push them up. Now, that's Felicia. She is the housing guru. Thank you for actually pinning those comments, the comments in, those resources in. I would like to tell you all, go back and watch one of the previous episodes. If I'm not mistaken, it was episode number 3. It was about homeless, where I actually had the special guest, my special guest, Felicia. We call her the housing guru, so she's doing some of the pinning of the links and whatnot. We gave a lot of information about the different programs that were out there, not necessarily saying that you are homeless or you're on the street, but if you're possibly facing evictions, if you have some things going on, if you can qualify for the different services. So it is worthy, for, checking out to see where you qualify. If you could go back and watch the, sadly, I'm pretty sure it's episode number 3. And it's about homelessness. So I had my special guest, Felicia Jackson. Again, she's dropping some of the resources and whatnot into the comments right now. That particular episode is very, very vital right now. They have a plethora of information that will really be good. Emergency solutions grants, assistance with rental arrears. You must have an eviction notice. Permanent supportive housing. You must be homeless and have a documented disability. So, Felicia, if you could, I know you gave me these resources, and I could probably drop them in real fast. Never mind. I'll do it. I'll drop them in really quick, because I would like to make sure that everyone gets these resources. People are hurting right now. People are going through right now. And we want to help as many people as we possibly can get the necessary help that they can. This may not be for you. Every episode is not going to be for everybody. If this is not for you, then I completely understand that, but it is for somebody. So it doesn't take long. It doesn't take any effort to just share the post, because you don't know who's going through what. People don't always tell their business. You don't always know what people have going on in their homes. No one can tell you what's going on in your life like you can tell your story. People are hurting. People are suffering. People are struggling from the pandemic. People have things going on. Please share this information as much as you possibly can. If you can look up some of the websites, I'll make sure that I go back in and I pin some of these. I'll pin the actual resources that I'm giving out. We want to make sure that people are being taken care of. Go back and watch some of the other episodes. Tonight, I'm actually going to pull some of the resources from the previous episodes, and I'll link them into episode 11. So counseling, marriage counseling, family counseling, grief counseling, emergency needs, mental wellness counseling, home and mortgage, pretty much everything that we've talked about in the previous 10 episodes. I'll go back and pull those resources and I will put them in this particular episode. So if you come back and you watch it again, or if you share, all of those resources should be into this particular episode. Let's help who we can. You never know what a person is going through. People are trying to feed their children. Some people have not gone back to work. Some people are robbing Peter to pay Paul. Some people don't know how they're going to make it next month. But right now, there are resources out there. So let's utilize what we can, how we can, in the best way possible. So with that, that's all I have. I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unmuted. And I know we were, this was probably not the topic that you thought I was going to talk about tonight, but I felt the need to really put the resources out there, the information out there, so people will know that there is help, because people are going through. People are going through. So we want to be our brother's keeper. We want to be our sister's keeper. We want to help those around us to make sure everyone is okay, as we possibly can. If it only is one, if there is only one person that you're helping, we want to make sure that we do help. Again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unmuted. Meet us here, same time, same station next Thursday. I'll be streaming to a couple of different pages. I really appreciate you all rocking with me through episode after episode. If there is a topic that you would like to hear discussed, feel free to send me a message. All of the credentials and whatnot, the email and everything is in the bio. If I don't know about the topic, I'll do the research, and I know people, so I'll bring people on. Usually once a month, I bring in a special guest. If there's a time that I need to bring in somebody a little bit more often than that, I will do, but we want to help as much as we possibly can. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you, Jamar. Everyone, Chandel, on the different pages and platforms. I really appreciate you. If you could share the information, tell somebody about it. Mention it on your job. You just never know what you may be talking about on your job, and they're not saying anything, but they're getting the information. So yeah, let's help someone. Let's help everyone get through this troubling time. I want to throw this out there. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to register to vote. I'm not going to get into the different, Democrat. I'm not going to get into all of that. Just vote. Be smart about your vote. Make sure you do vote. There are people that they died for the right to vote. If your child is 18 years old, take your child to the polls with you. If this is their first year voting, 2020, this is the time to vote. I think that's all I have. If you have anything that you want to hear discussed, you have any comments or anything, you can always pin them. You can send us messages. Thank you for tuning in. You all have a great night. Before I go, I will most likely be on location at one of the polls doing a little community service. I'll actually talk about that in another episode, but I'll be on location. Actually, we want to put something together. We're working on putting something together to make sure people that don't have a ride get back and forth. That is in talk right now. It's not in work, it's in talk. But those resources and whatnot will be coming soon. Thank you all again for tuning in. That is my time. I appreciate you all. Please stay safe. Please be safe. Love on someone. Take care of yourself. Do not forget self-care. You all have a great and blessed night.